Dog reactivity, or better known as your dog barking at other dogs, is a big problem for a lot of people. This can stem from a variety of different reasons. It can be previously because the dog's had bad experiences, maybe the dog's not been socialised, or maybe the dog's developed quite a lot of frustration that now looks like aggression. Dogs that have had bad experiences with other dogs, by barking at other dogs, generally tells us as dog owners that they are uncomfortable. They're not trying to dominate other dogs, they're not trying to be the boss, they are simply telling us that they are not happy in this situation. So in a dog's mindset, depending on how long they've been reactive for, by barking and going crazy at other dogs generally gets them out of the situation. So whether that's the other dog owners walking away in disgust, or whether that's you pulling your dog out of the situation so the dog stops barking and calms down. So if you're walking your dog 2-3 times a day, maybe even more, around other dogs, effectively you're having 2-3 or more training sessions a day. Teaching your dog to bark at other dogs gets them out of the situation. So effectively teaching them bark at dogs, dogs go away. So each dog will have what I call their own threshold. So this will depend on the individual dog. So say for example, dog's been attacked by another dog previously, the chances are their threshold is going to be really, really long. So they're going to bark from a long distance. As opposed to a dog that's maybe just not been socialised properly, chances are they maybe bark from about 2 meters or maybe even shorter than that. It's about finding your dog's threshold so then we know where to start the training. And I'm going to take you through that now. Okay, so this is your dog. So we're going to give your dog a threshold of around, let's say, 10 meters. Initially you might not know what your dog's threshold is, but just for the sake of this exercise, let's go off 10 meters. You'll know yourself, when you're out walking, you tend to get to that area where you know your dog's going to start reacting, your dog's going to start staring at the other dog, might even start grumbling, might even start barking then. And this is generally where you find that you've entered into that threshold. So inevitably you come across another dog once you're out for a walk and your dog starts reacting. So this is generally where we understand now that we are in that threshold. Your dog is clearly quite uncomfortable, so effectively the first thing we need to do is create that distance. So if we imagine that you take your dog out of the situation, you pull the dog back a little bit, let's say take him to, in theory, 11 meters, what you'll probably find is that your dog stops barking. So your dog becomes a little bit more comfortable, you're able to get your dog's attention, your dog's focus. So this is really important. This is where we need to start getting the dog's focus, the dog's attention back on you. We want the dog to remain quite calm, and effectively they are being rewarded for doing that. So what we want to do in theory is we want to reduce this distance. Now this isn't something that's done in one session, this is something that takes time. We're not trying to trick the dog either, we're trying to teach the dog that by being around the other dogs you are going to be rewarded for it, and there's not going to be any bad consequences. By that I mean the other dog barking at them or the other dog approaching them. We're going to do this nice and slow, and effectively we're just going to build up that level of trust and make it a positive experience for the dogs. So this is just the basic idea of it. Now you'll know yourself when you're out there and your dog is barking at other dogs, that says to you that the dog is too overstimulated. You need to take your dog out of the situation. You need to find where that threshold is. Now you will feel it and you will see it, and that's where you need to start practicing the focus work so that your dog is still around other dogs but they're not barking, they're not practicing barking. Now remember, this isn't something that can be covered in 1 or 2 sessions. This is something that takes time, and it's all about creating a positive association with the dogs. You don't want the dogs just to stop barking at the dogs because they're fearful of now something else that's necessarily going to hurt them or cause them discomfort. We want to teach the dogs to have positive emotions around the other dog. One thing to ensure as well, if your dog is uncomfortable around other dogs, always make sure that you've got a harness on the dog and they are double clipped. So by that I mean that the lead is clipped to their collar and the harness for safety reasons. If you are struggling with dog reactivity yourself, or you know somebody that is, you can contact me directly through Facebook, Instagram, or you can even ring me. For all other inquiries guys, by all means get in touch, and thanks for watching.